I'm going to run through the multiple choice section, and then I'll do like the 2-point section separately and then the rest of it separately from there, so we don't have too much in one shot. So to start off with, I want to do this first one where they give us this and they want to know which one's equivalent to. Well, right off the bat, I noticed there are no negative exponents. So if there's no negative exponents, there's no way we can end up with a fraction. So choices 1 and 3 are gone right away. Now, this is also flower power. 2 is the power. D is the root. So we need D to be the root of this thing. So D right here is a power. That can't be it. So it leaves me with choice 4. So that's it for number 1. Now number 2 is a little tricky. You just have to use kind of common sense. Julie averaged 85 on the first 3 tests. So that means out of her first 3 tests, whatever they added up to be, we divided it by 3 and we got 85. So if you cross multiply, x equals 255. So that's how many points she earned on the first 3 tests. So if you notice, that's where the 255 comes from in all of these. Now, if she scores a 93 on each of the remaining tests, her average will be a 90. Well, we want the average to be a 90. So these 2 are gone. Now, if she already took 3 tests, right? And she takes 2 more tests, how many tests total did she take? 5. We got that by doing 3 plus the 2 extra tests. So we get the denominator by adding. So it's got to be choice 3 right there. And I'm sorry about the camera going in and out. I don't know why that's happening. All right. That means write the parenthesis twice. So 2 minus yi. 2 minus yi. Now we're just going to distribute. It's 4 minus 2yi minus 2yi. And then this guy would be plus y squared I squared. And then I'm going to go, ooh, I squared. That makes this a negative y squared. So now I have a 4. These 2 can be put together to make negative 4yi, and that makes a minus y squared. So which of these choices means the same as this? And it's this guy. It looks like 4, 3, 2. Yep, there you go. All right, so that's the first 3. I'm going to swing on over here to this guy. Now, we kind of knew this one was going to pop up. So we need to know which of these pictures goes along with this info. There needs to be 3 real zeros. That means we have to hit the x-axis 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it hits the x-axis 3 times for most of these. So this is where this is going to come in. This means as x's are headed in the negative direction, so as we're headed this way, the graph is going to negative infinity, meaning down. So if we're headed in this direction, is this graph going down? Nope. Cross it off. If we're headed in this direction, is the graph going down? Yes. So he's still in play. If we're headed in this direction, is the graph going down? Nope. So we'll cross that off. Oh, but this one is. So now the last part, as we head towards positive infinity, so as I head in this direction, the graph needs to be headed towards positive infinity, which means up. So check it out. That way, it's going up. So that's the answer. This one's totally not right. That's it. Next one. 2 ways of doing it. You could plug in the choices. Fast way, square both sides. We get 56 minus x equals x squared. Set it equal to 0, so I'm going to move them over to the other side. 0 equals x squared plus x minus 56. Factors into x plus 8, x minus 7. So I get x equals negative 8, x equals 7. So then you have to check it. So if I plug in 56 minus negative 8, will that equal negative 8? Well, that makes radical 64. Well, positive 8 equals negative 8? Nope. So that means this guy's gone. Right? This isn't even a choice, so he's gone. All right, now we just got to see if 7 works or 7 doesn't work. So I'm going to check it. Do radical. 56 minus 7. Will that equal 7? Will radical 49 equal 7? Sure will. So you should have picked 3 for that one. All right, next page. All right, look at this sucker. 4 pieces. We're going grouping, and they want to know the zeros. So that means take this equation, set it equal to 0. So I'm going to do it right here. X to the 4th minus 4x cubed minus 9x squared plus 36x equals 0. Now I'm going to go grouping. These guys I can pull out an x cubed. So that makes x minus 4. Bring down the minus in the middle. We can pull out a 9x here. And that makes x minus 4 equals 0. So we're left over with x minus 4, x cubed minus 9x equals 0. Well, this guy can still be factored, right? So I'm going to keep that. But out of these guys, I could pop out an x. And then I'm going to bring it over here. X minus 4, we have an x, and that breaks up to be x plus 3, x minus 3 equals 0. Oh, now it's out of focus. I can't seem to get it to lock in so you guys don't get sick watching this thing. All right, now each one of these pieces needs to equal 0. So that means one answer is positive 4. X all by him's lonesome, 0. This guy is negative 3, and this guy is positive 3. So which choice has all of these choices? And that's choice 1. So I'm going to circle that. Okay. Now this guy. Anne has a coin. She does not know if it is a fair coin. She flipped the coin 100 times and obtained 73 heads. Okay. She ran a computer simulation, 200 samples, 100 fair coins. The output, okay, we have this great graph. Distribution. I'm going to do normal CDF, right? We don't even need to do this. Check this out. 73 heads 100 times. 73 out of 100 is 0.73. This is even easier than I thought. Is 0.73 even on this picture? No, it would be way over here. Didn't even come up in the simulation. That means her coin is not fair. Didn't even show up. This result didn't even show up in the picture. That's all there is to that. Kind of silly. All right, next one. Which statement is not true? Okay. So this one, they want us to multiply the 2 pieces together. So let's try. So we're going to try number 1. So I want to multiply 1 minus c squared times c plus 1. So I'm going to distribute this. So I get c plus 1 minus c cubed minus c squared. So let's check this out. There's the c, there's the 1. So that is true. So I'm going to cross that off. All right, let's try choice 2. It wants to know if we add them together, would we get this? So let's see. If I do 1 minus c squared and I add it to c plus 1. Well, what's 1 plus 1? 2. I have no one to add him to, so I just keep him. Plus c. That's the same as that, so that's not the right answer. Now I want to subtract them. We want to take m, so for choice 3, I want to take m, which is c plus 1, and subtract this guy. 1 minus c squared. Now remember, when you subtract, you got to distribute the minus. All the signs are going to change. So this becomes c plus 1 minus 1 plus c squared. Well, when I do that, these cancel. So I end up with c plus c squared. Okay, well, that's out. Well, since they all worked, that guy's got to be the answer. Okay. Number 9. Oops, sorry. The heights of the women in the United States are normally distributed. All right, that means I'm drawing one of these. With a mean of 64 and a standard deviation of 2.75. The percent of women that are between 64, so between here, oops, I didn't mean to do that, between this spot and 69.5. So I need to know what this percent's going to be. So now this is definitely a calculator question. So I go to normal, so let me quit out of that. Go to normal CDF, which is 2. The lower bound is 60. Is it 64? Yeah, 64. The upper bound is 69.5. The mean is 64. And the standard deviation is 2.75. And it's so this would be 0.477 is approximately 48%, which would be that guy. Okay, 10. The formula below can be used to model which scenario? All right, so let's set this up. This means the first spot is 3,000. Okay, so this would be A1. This would be A2. So to make A2, I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to do it down here. A2 equals 0.80 A2 minus 1, which makes 0.80 times A1. So this is going to be 3,000 times 0.80. So let's figure out what that is. So it's 2,400. So this is 2,400. Let's do one more, and then we'll look at our choices. So I want to do A3 now. So A3 is going to be 0.80 A3 minus 1, which is 0.80 times A2. Well, here's A2. So that means I'm going to do 2,400 times 0.80. Let's see what that makes. That's 1920. All right, so that kind of gets me started. Now I'm going to look at my choices. All right, does this represent the first row of a stadium has 3,000 seats, and each row has 80 seats more? Well, that is not 80 seats more. So I'm going to cross it off. The last row has 3,000 seats, and each row before it has 80 fewer seats. No, well, this doesn't have 80 fewer seats. No, so that's out. A bank account starts with 3,000 and each year grows. That didn't grow, that shrunk. So that's out. The initial value is 30,000 and each value is 20% less. Well, 0.80 means it's down by 20%. So that's the right answer. Okay. Oh, I knew we were going to get one of these. Okay, here we go. Sean's team has a baseball game tomorrow. He pitches 50% of the games. There is a 40% chance of rain during the game tomorrow. If the probability that it rains given Sean pitches is 40%, it can be concluded that, okay, they're asking about independent. So this is the sentence we care about. Probability it rains given Sean. So probability rain given Sean is 0.40. Now you always compare it to the thing that comes first. So what's the probability it's going to rain? The chance it's going to rain is 40%. These are identical. Identical means it's independent. So that should have been the answer to that one. Okay. Oops, sorry, it's bright. Number 12. This is Screaming Quad formula. So let's do it. X equals negative b plus minus b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So we get x equals negative 3 plus minus. Okay, I'm going to put that in my calculator. That's what you guys should have done. So let me clear out what's in here. So we're going to do 3 squared minus 4 times a times 2. That makes negative 7 in there, all over 4. So this becomes x equals negative 3 plus minus, pop your eye out. All right, so which of these choices, remember you got to split up if it's an I, plus minus I radical 7 over 4. So I'm going to go with negative 3/4 plus, it would be this guy, choice 1. Yep, that's that one. All right, let's see this one. The Ferris wheel at a landmark Navy Pier in Chicago takes 7 minutes for one rotation. The height is modeled by, all right, find the minimum height. Now, if you wanted to find max or min, you always start with the midline. So you take the midline for the minimum, which is 80, and then you subtract away from it the amplitude, which is 70. So that answer should have been 10. Okay. The expression, all right, this is long division. You cannot use synthetic division because there's a 2 in front of the x. Anytime there's a number in front of the x, you have to go long division. Now, the only thing that's awful about this is the x squared is missing, so you got to make sure you put the 0 in there. So we have to do long division here. So we're going to do 2x plus 3 divides into 4x cubed plus 0x squared plus 5x plus 10. All right, so I need to make 2x match this. So I'm going to do 2x squared, which makes 4x cubed plus 6x squared. Let's change colors here because what I'm going to do now is take all of this and subtract it. So this goes 0 minus him makes negative 6x squared plus 5x because you bring him down. So now I got to make 2x match this. It's negative 3x. So it's negative 6x squared minus 9x. Then I got to take all this, subtract it. This cancels. 5 minus minus x, 9x makes 14x plus 10. So now I'm going to do positive 7, makes that 14x plus 21. But then I got to take all this and subtract it. So that's gone. 10 minus 21 is negative 11. So I have to have 2x squared minus 3x plus 7. So that's what I got here. Minus 11. So it should have been that guy. All right, 15. Which function represents exponential decay? Now, before you make any choices, we have to get rid of things with negative exponents because that throws it off. So this negative exponent flips him over, and this becomes 2 to the t. This negative exponent flips over the 5, and that makes it 1/5 t. All right, if your base, is smaller than the number 1, it is decaying, it's shrinking. This base is positive 2. This base is 1.2. So we need a base smaller than 1. So if you haven't picked it up yet, it's going to be this guy. So if you didn't fix your negative exponents first, you probably got this one wrong. So if you see a negative exponent, take care of that first before you make your decision. All right. This guy. Oh, this means the inverse equals this. What is the original equation? All right, so we're just going to do this backwards. If you're talking about inverses, just going to switch the x and the y. So this would be the same thing as y. So we're going to do x equals negative 3/4 y plus 2. Now we got to get the y alone again. So subtract the 2 over. Okay. So now the way you get rid of a fraction, either you can divide by 3/4, right? Or multiply by the reciprocal. So this cancels. So I get y equals. Now, what happens when you divide a fraction by a fraction, right? Fractions inside fractions, we do keep, change, flip. So you keep the way it looks, but we're going to flip that over, 4/3. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to distribute this. So that becomes 4/3 x, this guy times this guy. This times this guy makes -8/3. So that would be him. Okay. 17. A circle centered at the origin has a radius of 10. All right. So we have a circle. Okay. The terminal side of theta is in quadrant 2. So that means we're going to draw a line in quadrant 2. But they said the radius is 10, so I know that's 10. At point C. The y-coordinate of C is 8. All right, guys, we're going to draw ourselves a triangle. That means the y is 8. What is the value of cosine? All right, so this is my angle. So we're going to do Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side. So we're going to do 8 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. 64 plus b squared equals 100. B squared equals 36. So b equals 6. So this missing side is 6. Now what we're going to do is cosine. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine's adjacent, which is 6, over the hypotenuse, which is 10. So that makes 3/5. But ASTC, in that quadrant, it is negative. So it's -3/5. And that's the choice there. Okay, which statement about the graph of this thing is false? Okay, it's a log graph, guys, right? And we talked about log graphs always come up and kind of peter out like that. That's what a log graph looks like. So the asymptote has an equation y equals 0. Okay, y equals 0 is the x-axis. Is that the asymptote? Nope, so that gets crossed off. The graph has no y-intercept. Well, check this out. This is going to go down forever. This has an asymptote here, so it's never going to hit the y-axis. So that's the correct choice. Right. Next one. 19. The equation is equivalent to. This is a really, really tough question. This is probably one of the nastiest ones on here. Let me write this down. We did one of these, but we did one of them. Okay, this is the equation of a circle in disguise. This is where I made the houses. I don't know if you guys remember that. This is the X family. This is the Y family. The problem is you can't have a number in front of the X squared. So the first thing I'm going to do is after I make the families, I got to factor out a 4. Same deal here. You can't have a number out in front, so you got to factor out the 4. And what's 72 divided by 4? 72 divided by 4 is 18. So that's plus 18y. Okay, so now what we have to do is completing the square to finish this. So what's half of 6? 3. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to add 9 in here. Half of 18 is 9. 9 squared is 81. Equals 76. Now here's the deal. This is what makes this extra hard. Whatever you attached on new, we have to keep the equation balanced. So whatever's new over here has got to be attached over here. The problem is there's this number out in front. So we didn't just attach on a 9. We attached on a 4 times 9, which is 36. So that means we have to add on a 36. Same deal here. I got to do 4 times 81, which is 324. So that means I have to add on a 324 over there. So now this factors into 4x minus 3 squared plus 4. This factors into y plus 9 squared equals, and I got to add all those up, 76 plus 36 plus 324 is 436. So the answer we're going with is this guy. I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't think any of you probably got that. And you know what? We did one of them months ago, so I don't blame you. All right. Almost done with the multiple choice. All right, this guy. This one you probably could have got. There was a study done on oxygen consumption of snails as a function of pH, and the result was degree 4. All right, degree 4 is even. So even means both my hands got to go up or both my hands got to go down. So that's what's happening here. Whose graph is shown below. Okay. Which statement is incorrect? The degree of the polynomial is even. Well, since it's doing the same thing, that's okay. So listen. There is a positive leading coefficient. That's the thing that's wrong. Okay? Because it's going down, it's negative out in front. So, boom, that's the incorrect one. Okay. 21. Last year, the total revenue for Homestyle, a national restaurant chain, increased by 5.25% over the year. This trend would continue, which would help us figure out their monthly increase. Okay, so that means normally we would do 1 plus 0.0525 for 1 year. But they want us to do this monthly. So what you're going to do is take the 0.525, chop it up into 12 pieces. So 0.0525 divided by 12 is that guy. So this is 0.0043. So that means we're going to do 1 plus that, and we're going to do that 12 times. So what choice is that? Oh, this is that nasty question. 0.375. I think you have to do the 1 stupid 12. No, that's not it either. That's a good question. We're going to make that months. So I'm feeling like it's that one. I'm going to come back and do that one again. Next one. Which value to the nearest tenth is not a solution of P of x equals Q of x? Oh, this is all graphing calculator. Here we go. Y equals clear. We're going to do x raised to the 3 plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 1. So we're going to put the first equation in. What was it? Nasty glare. Let's see that. The next equation is 3x plus 8. So we're going to do zoom standard, see what we got. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Which is not a solution. So what's going to have to find the intersection here? So I'm going to do second, calculate. We're going to go 5 for intersect. Now we're going to do the blinking man. So let's bring them all the way over to the first intersection point. So we're going to go over here. Enter. Second curve, enter. So negative 3.9. So this guy is a solution. So I can cross that off. All right, so now let's go to this intersection point. We're going to do it again. 5 for intersect. We're going to go over there. And I'm going to be honest, there's only one way to do this, guys, and that's with the graphing calculator. Enter, enter. Negative, oh, that's the guess. Negative 1.1. Okay, so this guy's an answer. Zoom fit. Let's see what happens. All right. Okay, so it looks like this is the spot, the third spot we didn't get. So we have to go over here. So we're going to do second calc, 5 for intersect. We want to go over here. Enter, enter. It's 2.05, so that's an answer. So this is the one that is not correct. Okay, next. The population of Jamesburg for the years 2010 through 2013 is this guy. How can this sequence be recursively modeled? Recursion means you've got to have the little n minus 1. So right off the bat, I'm thinking it can't be him and it can't be him. Now, your J1 also has to be the first spot. So both of these are still in the running. Now, let's use the formulas and see which one gives us these. So let's try this one to start. So this would be J1, this would be J2. So let's see if we can get this formula to create this. Well, J2 equal 1.00375, J to the 2 minus 1 would be J1. So J1 is this guy. So let's see what happens. It's quick. 250,000 times 1.00375. Does that create that guy? That's looking promising. Right. So now let's say if J3 makes this guy. So if I do 1.00375, J3 minus 1. So if I take J2, which they're saying is this guy, and multiply it by that, let's see what happens. So 250,937 times 0.100. Do I get, yep, so this is the right answer. So anytime they ask for recursion, you need this little n minus 1 thing. All right, last one. The voltage used by most households can be modeled by a sine function. The maximum voltage is 120, and there are 60 cycles every second. Which equation best represents the value of the voltage as opposed to the wire? Well, all of them have that. I was going to see if I can eliminate a choice, but they all have a 120 amplitude, so they're still running. And there are 60 cycles every second. Now that's going to affect our period. All right, so let's talk about this. 60 cycles in 1 second. The period is how long it takes for 1 cycle. Period equals time for 1 cycle. So if I want to find out what 1 cycle is, right, I've got to divide this, right? So period, right, is going to be 1 over 60. Now this is the B location that goes here. So period equals 2 pi over B. So that's going to mean 1 over 60 equals 2 pi over B. Cross multiply, B has to equal 120 pi. So it's got to be that guy is the right answer. Very tricky question. And I do want to go back and look at this one more time. I still think it's this one. Last year the total revenue, continue. We're going to break this up by months. Yeah, I'm thinking that's it. I'm going to double check that, but I'm 99% sure that's the one we're running with. All right, so that's the multiple choice section. Pretty darn sure, you guys, that I know some of you got beat up on it. Some of you did pretty good. So double check your answers with mine. And with a lot of luck, maybe you pulled through. I'm going to do a separate video for the 2-pointers and for the 4-pointers and 6-pointers, because this is already 35 minutes long.